Hi everyone, my name is Kari Heisted. I'm the Engagement Manager at the Moss Arts Center. Today I'm going to show you how to weave a CD so that you can be part of our project called Mixed Tapestry, which will run at the Moss Arts Center from December 8th through the 17th. Alright, first you're going to need your CD and the length of yarn that you will use for your warp, which is what you'll weave on. So I'm going to use about 2 yards of yarn today. And you can use a ruler or yardstick to measure, or you can measure the grams, but I'm going to just use my arm. So 1, 2, 3 lengths is about right to get 2 yards of yarn. Alright, to make your warp, you're going to tie your yarn through the center hole and make a double knot. Make sure it's nice and tight. And then you're going to push that knot towards the center of your CD, and it will end up with the tail on the back. Then you're just going to pull your yarn around and through the CD to make your spokes. Now I'm going to have 13 spokes, you might have more. But it's key that you have an odd number of spokes. If you have an even number, your weaving won't work. So you just do this until you have the right number of spokes. And then if you have any extra yarn, you can just trim it off when you're done. A great way to check that you have an odd number of spokes is to push the spokes together in pairs and then make sure you have one left over. So I've got 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, and then this one's left over, so that's 13. That's an odd number, I'm good to go. So I'm going to turn this over to the back and tie my warp string to itself in another double knot. And then I have some excess yarn that I'll just trim off. Now this is the back of your CD. You're not going to do your weaving on this side, you're going to do it on the shiny side. And you don't want to keep them in pairs, so just spread your spokes back out so that they're about evenly spaced. And then you can start your actual weaving. Alright, so make sure you're on the shiny side of your CD, and you're going to tie your first color yarn to one of the spokes. It doesn't matter which one. Then on the other end, you're going to tie it to a plastic needle if you've got one. I made this out of a plastic flexible lid and then punched a hole. You can either use a hole punch or a pair of scissors. This just makes it a little easier to get over and under the yarn, especially for little hands. So once you have that knot, to weave, all you do is go under, over. And I like to go through a few spokes at a time before I pull the whole yarn through. Now at the beginning your yarn is pretty long, so it takes a little while and it might get a little tangled as you're pulling it through. That's normal. So just keep doing that under, over as you go around your CD. Now the reason you don't want an even number of spokes is that your weaving will start to look like this. So you can see here, every single time I go around the CD, I'm going over this spoke, but under this one. So every other spoke is never getting covered up by the colored piece of yarn. So that's why you can see these brown spokes up here. And so if you start to notice that a brown spoke is showing up, that means you probably accidentally went under 2 spokes in a row. And that's really easy to fix. You just take your piece of yarn and pull it back through until you find the spot where you made that mistake, and then you just go from there. So it's not a big deal, unless the problem is that you accidentally made even number of spokes, in which case you'll need to redo your warp for your weaving to work. For my third and final color piece of yarn, I decided to choose a thick grade yarn so you could see what that looks like. Now the thicker yarn you're using, the less of it you'll need. So just know that a shorter piece will get you further along the CD than say a thinner piece of yarn would. Now this is where I'm going to leave mine, where I have some exposed CD here. This will be nice in the tapestry to have some of them like this, they'll catch the light, but you can also feel free to weave all the way out to the end of the CD. It's up to you and your artistic choices. And when you're done, you'll just tuck the very last tail of yarn right underneath your weaving, and it's ready to send to the Moss. Alright, when you have your finished CD, you're going to send that artwork to the Moss Art Center by December 1st so that it can be part of Mixed Tapestry, which will show December 8th through the 17th. Make sure when you submit your artwork that you also tell us your name, your age, and what school you go to so we know all of the different places around the New River Valley that we are getting artwork submitted from. Thank you so much and enjoy weaving!